Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Let's Keep It a Buck podcast, the only podcast where we do things differently. We kick Sage off because he is too anime for us now, so we are having auditions for a fourth basketball member. Don't know who that guy is. If you know who it is, comment down below. Please don't say Legend of Winning. We already got a big black guy on the pod. Yeah,
true.
If you do this, you want to be true to this, make sure you hit that join button, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Hopefully they can tell another friend. When I was downtown at the State Farm draft party yesterday, somebody dapped me up. Oh yeah, bro, I fuck with the pod. Now I did have a big old Let's Keep It a Buck shirt on, so that could be where it's from, or they could just know my face. I got my guys here with me. Damo, how you doing today?
Doing great, man. Been a cool little week, calm little week. First one out of 10 in a minute on the channel. That's great. Hopefully I'll double back on that. And yeah, had 2 pretty good streams. Hoping to get another good stream in tonight after this. Been good.
Pause. BSOLZ. Mister, I gotta wear a hat. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Doing fantastic. Glad to be back with the guys. I'm on a serious note. I am actually Sage is not here because if he was here, he wouldn't have 100K subs, man. Round of applause for my guy TSO Sage, man, in the chat and in the comment section. I don't got my soundboard.
No hands.
So.
No hands. No hands. No hands. No hands. Do the same thing. No hands.
What?
No one's gonna do it. No one's gonna do it.
Clap with no hands.
Nah, he don't get it.
Stop looking at the screen.
Oh,
listen, man. Chill. Without further ado, let's get into the ball. I'm gonna give me a little roadcaster duo. Don't worry about it. Tonight's I'm not even in the right notion. Are we doing prize?
Oh man.
It's a little more difficult here. Tonight's big 3, we got the trade reactions, we got the draft reactions, and we got the Coach Nick interview. We're gonna start it off with hot take or hot ass. This is from Andre Squigglewalla. Former NBA player Evan Turner says that the super team Warriors to Andre Iguodala, he said that was lame as fuck. Word to mother, I would have never gone out and recruited no KD. I don't give a damn who is there. Apparently this is the truth about the lamest moves in NBA history, etc., and what the fuck is going on. So, hot take or hot ass, was Kevin Durant going to the Warriors the lamest move in NBA history?
Wait, real quick, what did Iggy say? Because I know his other podcast mate is Iggy.
He said, "Hey man, chill,
loser."
I'm about to say, "Hey man,
chill, twin." He said, "Chill, twin, chill, chill, man. Haha, you doing too much." Is that the lamest move in NBA history?
I'm trying to think of a lamer one.
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and stop you right there. Ain't no thinking. Absolutely, hands down, bona fide hot take. That's not hot ass because he's spitting. Lamest move ever. I would never done no lame ass shit like that. That's just crazy. You do homegrown talent. You don't go out there and just horrible.
You don't got to be homegrown, but to stack the deck that much, LeBron was already pushing it. All right, but that much, all right, bro. Damn.
I'm gonna say this though, to defend Iguodala, Evan Turner. Even if you did get KD, it wouldn't be the same result. So I gotta stand with my guy Iggy. Not too much on him specifically. Niggas want to act like Iguodala was Steph Curry or whatever the case may be. Why you bringing all the smoke to him? But Evan Turner, even if Kevin Durant joins your team,
imagine Evan Turner trying to recruit KD, bro. Yo. Evan Turner.
No.
Yo.
First of all, bang. First of all, bang, hang up. But he'd be on the phone. Yo, Kevin. I got a good idea for
You're
us.
wrong for this, man.
Why don't we link in Cleveland? Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. I'm supposed to come on. I'm not going for it. I'm not going for it. So, okay. Well, this hot take or hot ass is sponsored by Gilbert Arenas, the Gil's Arena podcast. So Gilbert Arenas and them did an all-time draft recently, and they picked their teams. I'm gonna read their teams off. So we got Gil's team: LeBron and Magic at point, Kevin Durant, Jerry West at 2, Dirk and Oscar Robinson at 3. Power forward is Tim Duncan and Julius Erving, and then at the center position, I promise you this is what it says: Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Bronny. Okay. Brandon Jennings' team: Mike and John Stockton at the 1, Ray Allen and D Wade at the 2, Kawhi and James Worthy at the 3, Elgin Baylor and Giannis at the 4, and at the 5, Jokic and Hakeem Olajuwon. Okay. Rashard McCant's team, which is actually going to be kind of surprising. He must have had a very low pick. Stephen Curry and Luka Doncic, James Harden, Vince Carter, T-Mac, Jason Tatum, Larry Bird, Wemby, Bill Russell, and Joel Embiid. And then Kenion's team had to be based off of solely his friends. Jason Kidd, AI, Kobe Bryant, Klay Thompson, Carmelo Anthony, Anthony Edwards, Kevin Garnett, Scottie Pippen, Shaq, and Wilt. Who has the best team?
I need to see the starting 5 in front of me to tell. I ain't gonna lie. But from what I did see, I think I liked Gil's team because he had Magic, Kareem, Duncan. Who was it 2 and 3? KD, and
Dirk, LeBron.
Yeah. That's like 5. At the very least 4 of the 5 best players in their respective position. Like, I understand spacing is gonna be an issue, but sometimes spacing ain't a problem when you got fucking Tim Duncan and Kareem down there. So,
I mean, for me, off all the teams I heard, I want to say the second team you named, if you can run them off again, that was one I remember thinking probably was the best team.
So that was Brandon Jennings' team with Michael, John Stockton, Ray Allen, Dwayne Wade, Kawhi, James Worthy, Giannis, Elgin Baylor, Jokic, and Hakeem. That's probably the best team. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm gonna say that to me, that one stood out to me when I heard it originally. I was like, and I was comparing the rest to it. I like that team a lot. I would say I'm going with Brandon Jennings' team, but he makes a lot of sense when it comes to all of them old niggas on that pod. So
Kenyon Martin is a funny dude. Like Jason Kidd not bad, but just
I like how he started off because I was watching that stream. His first 3 picks was Shaq, KG, and Jordan, I believe. Or Shaq, KG, and someone. And I'm like, this is a really, really good start. And then he picked Melo, and I'm like, oh. You had something there, gang, but your starting 3 is Melo out of everyone you could have named. Damn.
Trying to prove a point.
Oh, it was Kobe. Yeah, it was Kobe, Shaq, and KG, bro. Like, damn, how do you fuck that up, man? Damn.
Melo.
I'm about to say Melo. Why you fuck it up? Melo.
How you fuck it up? Melo. That's the.
He said in the live stream, man. I mean, talk about a guy that can do it all.
Who, Melo?
With buckets, pure buckets to everyone he faced. Yeah, Melo.
You talking about Melo?
Yes, he's talking about Melo, bro.
That's how you hyped up the Melo pick? Oh,
yes.
Yeah, yes. Oh, man.
One of a kind.
No, that's disgusting as hell. Look, free agency has ramped up a lot. And the thing that I've noticed is the packages are insane. Massive, heavy, weighted packages. Big packages, no cap.
Prime delivery, too.
I'm going to read off some of these newses, but of course we're going to stick on the big package from yesterday. The Washington Wizards are trading Denny Avdia to the Portland Trailblazers for Malcolm Brogdon in the 14th pick in last night's draft. and 2029 pick. Does that really move the needle for anybody before I go on?
I really like that trade for Washington. I feel like they got a lot back for Denny, way more than I thought it was worth.
Well, they get back. They got Malcolm Brogdon a pick, and is that it?
Malcolm and two first and 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah. That's a lot in return. Then I thought it was just Malcolm Brogdon. The pick.
No. I thought it was just.
I
just see the 14th and the 2029 pick.
Oh, my fault. I thought it was 2 first and 2 second rounds. My bad.
No, just two first round picks.
Okay, still more than I thought it was worth.
Yeah.
I just don't know enough about Denny's game, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that really a good fit for what Portland's trying to build right now?
I
already thought they had like a pretty big logjam with like the perimeter
What is
players
Portland
that they
trying to
had.
build?
I mean, they're still trying to figure it out. But I mean, in terms of forward play, I mean, you had Jeremy Grant, but other than that, you had Kamara out there, but he was just playing defense. He wasn't really scoring. So there's minutes for a forward on that team, and they could be moving Jeremy Grant at any moment now.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
The big trade of the night, scariest trade of the night last night, we have the Brooklyn Nets trading Mikal Bridges to the New York Knicks for Bojan Bogdanovic, 4 unprotected first-round picks, a protected first-round pick via the Bucks, an unprotected pick swap, and a second-round pick. Mikal came to the Nets. This is from Ian. The Mikal Bridges deal came together quickly after Bridges informed the Nets he wanted to be a Knick. Bridges was prepared to sign with New York Knicks, and his side was prepared to use that leverage to keep other teams from trading him. The Villanova boys are back. College guys are back. And with that being said, they also locked down OG Anunoby. Let me figure out what that number is. But they locked down OG Anunoby for some ungodly
4 year, 200,
number.
I think, or 5 year.
4 year, I think it's like 212 or some shit like that. So 5 year, 212 and a half, so 213. A player option and a trade kicker. What are our feelings about New York's moves? Because honestly, I know this is gonna sound like meat ride, especially if they can bring back Hartenstein. They are the best team in the East to me.
Well, that's definitely meat ride, but I feel it though. I feel it. I think in a vacuum, they gave up a lot for Mikal Bridges. Like if you just look at that trade in the vacuum, they gave up 5 first-round draft picks unprotected. So in a vacuum,
but the Bucks one has protections.
Okay,
or no, the other one, yeah.
Yeah, regardless, in a vacuum though, that's a lot to give up if you're just looking at who Mikal Bridges is and what he should be valued for. But this move is not in a vacuum. They have their core in JB. They almost made it to the Eastern Conference Finals this past season, being very injured in that process. So they believe in this core. And now it's not even, because I've been preaching all season, the Knicks are a team that just want a good team. At this point, they are really gunning for that championship. And I just like the fact that in this parity era, which in my personal opinion, a bunch of teams can win, they are not playing scary. So locking up Mikal, building a team that's deep, building a team that has continuity. I think this is a great move for the New York Knicks. Do I got them coming out the East? No. Am I scared of them? No. But hey, man, good shit, New York. Good shit.
Why are you not scared of them?
Same reasons as to why, like in the finals, I wouldn't be scared of facing like OKC or even Dallas. When we face Dallas, I just feel like when you're the Boston Celtics, the best teams to match up against are the perimeter oriented teams, instead of like a dominant big man team like the Denver Nuggets, the 76ers, the Bucks with Giannis, and the Lakers if they happen to make it to the finals and everything's going well for them. Yeah, I just like going up against perimeter-oriented teams. And offensively, I understand Mikal Bridges can create his own shot. I understand OG can as well. But playmaking-wise, they're still kind of lacking. Like, they would still rely a decent amount on Jalen Brunson's advantage creation and, like, being able to pass the ball in an elite level. So,
Damo, can you speak to where you have them in the hierarchy of the East and how they fare versus possibly the Boston Celtics now?
I don't. I don't want to say I don't like their chances to get against Boston because bringing back OG with MIKAL is dangerous, super dangerous. My issue is just a log jam at a specific position for them. Trying to get those guys minutes along with Josh Hart and DiVincenzo and Jalen Brunson, and then we got to think about what we're doing with Julius Randle. It's still questions. I got to see how it plays out. I got to see how the minutes stagnate, how the lineups line up, and I can really be confident in them. In terms of their standing in the East next year, I got them amongst the upper echelons. This definitely puts them in the upper echelons category in the East, whereas before I had that reserved for obviously Boston, Milwaukee, and Philly, the teams that really seem like threats. They're definitely a threat team now. They're not a team that's teetering on the line. I definitely got them up there as a potential top 3 team in the East.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, like I said, they're my favorite to get out of the East. The thing that they still have to do is figure out what they're gonna do with Julius. That's a huge question mark. And I'm not even saying that I would be mad if they ran it back just a little bit with Julius through the first half of the season, but you got to figure out what you're doing with him there. That's the real logjam. Like everybody else can kind of play. I feel like everybody else can kind of play multiple positions, and maybe Julius could be like your small ball 5, maybe. But I think
you would put OG at the 4. But I would think like Julius outside of JB would be their other like playmaker in that starting lineup. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you put in Dante at the 2, MIKAL at the 3, OG at the 4, and whatchamacallit, let's just say Mitchell Robinson at the 5, JB at the 1. There's a playmaking deficiency in that lineup, bro. I can't lie.
And money wise, that's the biggest issue with me. Bringing OG back for that much money and you're still paying Julius Randle. I just don't know the back end, like the bench. Well, we're talking about a Tibbs team. Yeah, they look like they're 8 deep, 9 deep now, front loaded, but God forbid they break down. We're talking about less than what they already had on the bench. It was Deuce McBride was a real dominant in the rough. That is not something people thought that the Knicks had. Outside of Deuce McBride, who's on their bench?
Yeah,
I can agree with you. We haven't mentioned not I Hart, Josh Hart. You haven't mentioned
Josh Hart, but Josh Hart was a part of that first 8 I referred to.
Okay.
You talking about deeper than 8?
Deeper than 8?
You don't really need deeper than 8 though.
You say that until someone's hurt, especially playing for Tibbs.
Stop it.
I'm just saying. I'm always insurance policy guy in terms of especially if you're talking about competing. You have to think who's that next man up, or who will that bench guy be. In my opinion, I always think that.
I can feel that. I think when they get to the playoffs, though, and mind you, what you're saying is they have to make it, though, and make it not necessarily by record, but by health. But if they make it, and they make it with who they make it with, like cutting it to 8 deep is not gonna be something too crazy, because they was gonna do that anyway. Mm-hmm. Jalen Brunson was gonna play 40-something anyway. MIKAL was gonna play 40-something anyway. OG was gonna play 40-something anyway. So like, I don't know what to tell y'all boys. So. I will say this. I think the price to get the most valuable players in the league has gotten crazy out of hand. Four unprotected first is like not even 1 through 3, not even 1 through 5, nothing like that. 4 first unprotected is crazy steep, like crazy steep for a team to have to pay. And especially for small market teams, non-free agent destinations, y'all are gonna have to build through the draft now more than ever. Like
I just feel like my fault. I just feel like now, in terms of when it comes to when we hear these rumors about these players that teams are looking to trade, and they're talking about this big asking price, and everyone's sitting around saying, "Oh, who's gonna pay that? Ain't nobody gonna pay that." I've been saying it for like the last 2 years now. I've noticed a trend. You don't know what you don't know. And when it comes to the NBA, we will see the most shocking, dumbest, not make sensical things happen. And then we're sitting there thinking, oh, well, that's just that time. Well, if it happens consecutively, if it constantly happens, I don't think it's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. That's something that we can go by. There is somebody that's willing to pay that price. Who wants Chris Paul's contract? Somebody's going to want Chris Paul's contract. Who's going to give up 3-4 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges? Someone's going to give 3-4 first-round picks up for Mikal Bridges. We're seeing it.
Yeah, the going rate now, I just don't even know, because like what Damo said, whenever I see a Woj Noti now, I'm always, damn, that's it? Or is, damn, they gave up that much? And there's really like no in between, because just recently the Caruso trade, I mean, actually, have y'all heard the rumors about like what Chicago might have gotten instead of just going for Giddey?
No.
All I heard was the 13th pick or the 10th pick or something like that.
New York was in that race for Caruso, and they were willing to give up like two first-round draft picks and I believe a player. But long story short, it's just, yeah, like what Damo said, man, it's, you don't think shit can happen, but these front offices, they got that job for a reason. Now some of them I don't know why, but some of them do for a reason, because they see shit that we don't. Like even last season, the Celtics being able to pull off KP and Drew Holiday in the same offseason, they gave JB a supermax. Like what the, I didn't expect that. I thought once we signed Jaylen Brown to that supermax, I thought we were so locked in that there wasn't gonna be any cap space to make like any crazy moves. But here we are. So
yeah, plus a lot of these teams are like looking at their options, and to get a player of a and not even to the level of, I guess, but the skill level of Mikal Bridges, skill, size, all those things like that, mobility, et cetera, length. If there's only two people with the archetype of a Mikal Bridges, and one of them, I guess, just won a championship, let's just say Tatum, one of them won a championship, I think you only got one other shot to get a guy like this. So you kind of just got to take the decision. You kind of just got to just say, hey, okay, I'll bite the bullet. It is what it is. So, right. Give a grade to the trade.
Well, I'll give it an A for the Nets. I'll give it a B+ for the Knicks.
for the Nets, yeah, I'm gonna give it an A for the Nets, and then for the Knicks, I'm higher on it. I'm gonna give it an A-. A.
Yeah, I'm gonna give A's across the board. I wanted to give an A- for the Knicks because, like, I mean, you got your guy or whatever the case may be, but that was a crazy cost. But ultimately, it's bigger than just, the short term or whatever the case may be. Kind of like Coach Nick told us, getting those guys with that much chemistry in a league that does not practice anymore is like fantastic. So I think it's a unique situation. He's a good player, and they already have established chemistry. So it's just, it only elevates the paying price that I would pay for him.
Because you're paying for continuity too. So
yeah. Yes, you are. We're gonna skip over to some of the draft stuff. I'm disappointed. Are y'all disappointed? Yes.
Oh.
Your team or the draft in general?
To be honest with you, both.
I mean, there were a lot of questionable moves, but in terms of being disappointed, I mean, I was gladly entertained. I don't know about y'all, but
I mean, I don't think it was a disappointing draft. There were some questionable decisions by teams. If anything, I'm more disappointed by the teams than the prospects. I don't think there was anything wrong with the prospects drafted outside of who Charlotte took. There was no issue with the prospects. It was just a lot of positioning. I don't think Ron Holland should have went to the Pistons. I don't think Toppin should have went to the Thunder. Fuck Miami for taking Khalil Ware from the Lakers, in my opinion. Like it's questionable picks, but in terms of the prospects, I'm not disappointed. But I pay attention to the draft, so not like everybody.
And let me say, it's not the prospects per se, because the prospects were the prospects last night that they were 2-3 weeks ago. So if I was going to be disappointed, I should have been disappointed last year, whatever the case may be. It's how teams selected ultimately, and it popped off with Zachary Ricochet to the Atlanta Hawks with the first overall pick.
Round of applause.
Woo, Atlanta.
Woo!
Yay.
For the podcast that doesn't know, I went down there to Atlanta, the Hawks Arena, State Farm Arena, to see the draft party. Not mixed reviews would be overstating it. People weren't happy about this pick. They weren't thrilled. They weren't, with it. But I also figured out Atlanta's just not a sports city. They really did not give a fuck about what the hell was going on sports wise. They were down there to find a ball player, whatever the case may be, kick it, have a good time. I don't know what Zachary Ricochet will be. I have an idea. I always evaluate the floor, and his floor is just makes you want to scratch your head, right?
I just don't see the vision with him, dude. Like, what's the vision? What's the reasoning? Did they think he's the best player out of the draft, like through their own scouting report?
Yeah, that's what they said.
But my thing is, even if you believe that, if everyone knows this guy isn't gonna go number one outside of you, why not trade down and do like what the Celtics did when they drafted Tatum? At least get an extra draft pick, and then just pick your guy at, I don't know, 7 or 8.
Well, you'd have to be a smart team to do that. Plus, I will say this. I feel like, and now there are some reaches for sure, but if you like a guy, pick a guy. Pick your guy. Pick your guy if you like a guy. I don't like the guy. I just truly do not like the guy at all. It could just be me.
It's not just you. It's not just you.
Maybe it's just me, but I'm with the Zachary Ricochet guy.
I think there were more legs than we thought also towards the I don't want to come to Atlanta conversations. Mm-hmm. I think those were real.
If that's the reason why they didn't pick him, though, that's kind of weak. That is weak, actually. I ain't gonna lie.
I mean, I heard that he said himself that he didn't mind playing in Atlanta, but I guess his team said they didn't want him in Atlanta, something like that. But him himself, I heard he said he doesn't mind playing in Atlanta.
Damo, who are your surprise picks from this draft? Like, as far as placement goes, I don't give a fuck about that shit no more.
First things first, shout out my guy AJ Johnson to the Bucks, late first round. On the playback, we were talking about something, and I was genuine shock when they drafted this nigga. Like, interrupted the conversation on accident, like shock, because I didn't expect him to go to first in the first round. In the conversation with a draft community guy, a guy that loves the draft. Stephen Gillespie, right? Yeah. That guy loves the draft. He even thought that he would fall to the second round. So no idea of him going first round. Him going first round, that was dope. Getting Dalton Knapp, I ain't gonna lie, that was the biggest shock. That's like if the Lakers would have got Cam Whitmore last year, in my opinion. A guy that's projected to go top 10, maybe 5.
I seen his highlights, man.
He's not gonna play, so. Hey, so is he not gonna play? Come on, man.
That's Lord Austin Reeves.
We got 2 of them now. This is dope. But yeah, Dalton sliding to 17 was kind of dope. The Sixers taking Jared McKinn over Dalton, that was wild. I was surprised by that. Everyone should have been surprised by the Charlotte pick. I don't know why you're drafting a project that high. French Kevin Knox must be nice, I guess. I don't get it. That one blew me. And then the Thunder, I was adamant on the stream arguing with Cardiac Missile Devil's Advocate about why that was just a terrible fit. You drafted Josh Giddey after trading Josh Giddey, knowing Josh Giddey didn't fit on his team. Stupid.
I thought the most questionable one, and I know BSOLZ will probably agree, was the Zach Edey. That high.
And that's what I was talking about earlier. It's just, again, if you know there's already questions about this dude, I get it. Pick a guy if you really like him, but I feel like the smart thing to do with your assets would be to maximize like more out of them if you can get the same dude you already want. You know what I'm saying? So
they said he went into his workout and like dominated, destroyed, killed, like whatever adjective that you want to use. He murked the workout. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe
we'll see. It's just questionable because Ja is not a great shooter. He's not a floor spacer. He is a rim attacker. So I don't. We'll see. We'll see.
Apparently, Zach Edey, the shooting's real, man. He says the shooting is real. So hey, maybe he's the spacer. Free that lane up for Ja.
They didn't have that creativity for Zach. That's the problem. We just talked about that. So they put him into a box and not let him flourish. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. Not too much on Zach. And then last but certainly not least from the draft section, Damo, your guy got drafted.
He sure
to
did.
Your team. To your team.
He sure did.
Big Bronny.
Big Bronny.
I'm not mad.
Did not
I
get
like
held
it.
hostage, man.
I saw before he got drafted, Rich Paul was saying to teams, if you draft him, he will play in Australia.
Yeah, he's leaving. I was like, damn. All right, I guess. That's crazy. Now I will say that's crazy. If another team wanted him, they should have been able to get him. I don't think he should have just forced his way to the Lakers. That's kind of whack as hell. But other than that, I mean, hey, shout out Bronny. Hopefully, I know when LeBron is really in his farewell tour bag when they call him up from the G League for his 2 weeks of service in the NBA off his 2-way contract, so he can get them games in with LeBron and have that whole media cycle. I'm just waiting for that portion of the season.
Now that
I'm excited for media day.
I would say now that the true nepotism is in has gone full circle, Bronny's in the thing. BSOLZ, is there issue with Bronny James going to the Los Angeles Lakers?
I don't see an issue with it. I've been very consistent with this podcast throughout the years on my stance with nepotism. It is not going to stop if LeBron doesn't exercise his powers. It is going to exist. It exists right now. I just saw a tweet before we went live of like, I don't know if it's the Dallas Cowboys front office, but it's Jerry Jones at the top and a bunch of other Jones up there. So, yeah, this already exists. So, hey, man, if the cycle ain't going to stop with you, maybe this is a bad mindset. Let your kid have the opportunity that he wants. Now, my biggest question with all of this is this actually something that Bronny wants for himself? Which from the interviews that I did see from Rich Paul, it does seem like this is something that Bronny wants to do. Now, can you question the validity of that at the end of the day? Is that part of the marketing? Is that part of the campaign? We will never truly know. But, my biggest question has always been, does Bronny really want to go into the draft? Or is this like some LeBron dream that LeBron wants to do at the end of his career because LeBron's done so much for the game and he's just sacrificing, what his son truly wants to do for the sake of, I'm LeBron and I'm owed this because of everything I give to the game. But if it's not that and there's pure intentions in terms of, Bron trying to help out his son get into the league, I don't see any, and his son also wants to get into the league, I don't see any problem with it.
The only thing I will say is there's this concept that goes out that says, if Bronny is on this team or he's in the pick or he's getting this draft coverage, that's taking away from a kid who really needs it and can play. So I could see it from that lens. At the same time, play better. So I can't say that I'm saying the right things. No, on a serious note, though, I do agree. Him having all this hype, him having all this, I don't know. I don't want to call it. Maybe I should call it unwarranted hype. Him having all this unwarranted hype just takes away from like that kid that actually needs that push. There's a kid at a JUCO right now or a kid at a D2 school that could have used that coverage because he's an actual player over Bronny James.
But my only pushback to that would be, who is that kid in every other draft when there is no Bronny James? Because if we're about to have that conversation about the 55th pick, like I get it, that's a spot in a very hard league to get in. But if we're talking about if it's down to the 55th pick, gang, you should have played better. You should have trained harder. Because if we're down to the 55th pick and we're arguing about that position being a gateway for somebody that really needs it, I get it, cool. You just have to point out that JUCO guy that needed it last year's draft, the draft before that, 10 years ago. Who's that player? Because now if there's some magical Spencer James somewhere, now that Bronny's up here and we're talking about nepotism, that feels disingenuous.
No, and I get you. I mean, sometimes you definitely need to put a name on that bullet. And if you're 54 and 56, play better. That's the best advice I got for you.
Yeah,
because the nepotism going to nepotize.
And I would just want to end with this one. then I would say it's about if Bronny deserves to be in the league or not. If Bronny plays to the level of a NBA role player, or hell, if he turns out to be Austin Rivers, then hey, he's Austin Rivers. But at the end of the day, he had a 10-year career. How many guys in the second round are you saying is Austin Rivers? Like, I don't know. I mean, does everybody have the potential to be Austin Rivers? I guess, but everybody don't turn into Austin Rivers. So if we're saying, oh, if Bronny got this, if Bronny's getting here, that's never. I don't like this nepotism because that could go to a kid that really needed to be the 55th pick and made it through the G League, made it through a two-way deal, and then earned a spot on the team, and then been good enough for 5 to 10 years to be an NBA role player or veteran. Like, all right, that's a lot of ifs.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you just heard like Rich Paul's interviews lately, bro, or some of his quotes. Rich Paul is really flexing that NBA power that he got on some like, I could really do whatever the fuck I want with this league. Like, I got this league on a chokehold right now. So I'm just saying, Bronny getting that spot right there, specifically at 55 to the Lakers, with Rich Paul being his agent, there is a lot of, all right, man, right? Rich Paul, and it's not necessarily because Bronny earned that spot too. But
that's fine. You can't say it's because Rich Paul for 6 years into Bronny's career and he's earning NBA minutes. You can't say it's because Rich Paul. At that point, Bronny has earned the spot in the NBA. Now, if Bronny is in Australia in 2 years, hey, so it's Rich Paul.
Yeah.
Wait, so you would feel the same way if, all right, 6 years into the league, he's playing on certain teams, but it's clear that Rich Paul forced him to be to these teams? I mean, he was still earning the minutes.
I'm about to say that's different if it's clear cut. Rich Paul. I mean, I don't know how Rich Paul is gonna dictate this nigga getting on 6 different teams. If he does that, then hey, the nigga is NBA Suge Knight. Like, I don't know. That's crazy to just be like, all right, he ain't on the Lakers, fuck it. He's on the Suns now. He's not on the Suns, fuck it. He's on the Magic. Like, if he could just go where he wants to go because he's Rich Paul, we're having a total different conversation. But I don't see it like that. I see this as one of those situations where his power was getting him into the NBA. I don't think anyone has the power for real. Nah, I lied. Giannis. Let me stop. I'm gonna stop that right there. No. Because what you call it? Because even Alexander Sarr's brothers on the Thunder. So I mean, niggas have relatives or older siblings, younger siblings. Aaron Gordon's brother, who recently passed, RP. He used to be in the league. His older brother. Guys, Justin Holiday. He's not in the NBA because Drew. Like, I mean, there's guys whose relatives, brothers are in the league. I don't want to say it's pure nepotism. Thanasis being specifically on the Bucks this long, I mean, I was about to say there's no way anyone has the power to keep a nigga in the league. Giannis has kept this nigga in the league, so there we go. My hands are tied with that one.
I feel like there's a lot of players though that I understand. Like Rich Paul did help them get into the league, but that's a big part of it. Like a lot of players just need opportunity. So to have that agent that just gives you that opportunity, I understand. Over somebody else specifically. Like, hey, 6 years down the line, Bronny could still be in the league, but he literally would not be in the league if it wasn't for this. You know what I'm saying? This push from Mr. Rich Paul in Clutch Sports. So.
Oh yeah, then at that point I would just chop it up to, hey man, W nepotism and other niggas.
Yeah.
Hey, look at the draw. Hey, life ain't fair. Not gonna lie to you. Some niggas gotta work harder than others. Some niggas get a door open for them.
Yeah, that's fair. Do y'all have your hot takes of the week?
Ooh,
hot takes of the week might be a light hot take, but I understand.
Wait, I got you. Hold on. Boom, 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 boom.
I feel like a decent amount of people were mad at the Spurs trading away Ron Holland to the Timberwolves for the two first round draft picks in like 2090, 2030. But me personally, I'm not too mad at that. Just because they already got a log jam at the guard position, because they drafted Stephon Castle with the number 4 pick. So at that point, I feel like for them specifically, there may be more value into trading that pick, trading the player that they drafted in order to get more draft capital, so that when a star player that they want comes down the line, now you got more draft picks to throw at them instead of having a guy that they may or may not even want. You know what I'm saying? So Rob Dillingham. My bad. That's what I was thinking of.
Okay. Damo.
Yeah. I've been, doing my rounds on the timeline. Seen a couple YouTube videos. Listen, the new XXL freshman list came out recently. If you are one of these old people who are still going to hold on to the stance of, who are these? I don't know, gang. You ain't known for 5 years. Give it up. Stop looking. Like, all right, we get it. Like, we get it, gang. How many times you got to make a video saying, who are these kids? Like, all right, you don't listen to it. Go throw on MF Doom, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. That's my hot take. Like, nigga, if you ain't like the freshman list for the last 4 or 5 years, you're not going to like it now. Leave it alone. I recently looked at it. I was actually surprised by how good the list was. The list has been better. This is the better list in at least since 2020 that I can think of.
I looked at the list on stream. There was one year where it was straight cheeks. It might have been 2020 or 2021.
22 was the year. I'm gonna look at it on stream today. 22 was absolute dog water.
Yeah. Which one was that?
Nigga, who? I don't know. I looked at that list. I don't know who them people were. I'm like, who are these people?
I seen one with Ruby Rose and DDG. I forgot what year
that probably was 22. Nah, that might have been 21. That might have been 20. Nah, that one. Was it the one with Saucy Santana? The one with Saucy Santana was 22. That shit was horrible. It was like Sofago, Saucy Santana.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. The one Saucy. I was like, damn,
just fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Fucking awful, bro.
Not too much on Saucy. How about that?
I guess
he's actually one of the goats. She's it.
Yeah, you better say that he gonna do you like he tried to do academics. You better.
I think it's he. I think it's he. I think
it's they. I don't know. See, here we go. Leave it alone.
My hot take of the week is gonna be not hot. Let me say this: the WNBA draft over the NBA draft. We're cool with the international talent over here. Hate to be on my GIL'S shit.
Oh
I hate to be on my
this is crazy, bro.
No. Listen. The draft. I told y'all the draft last night sounded like a sim on 2K all the way to the year 2045. I'm straight, gang. Super straight. Or maybe start a new league for just the international guys over here.
Insane.
And then they can feed into wait. Then they can feed into the NBA system. But this whole I just don't. They wasn't putting that shit on. That's for sure. The ladies definitely dress better. Plus, I really feel like I didn't hear too many of them talk.
We did hear one guy talk.
We heard the number one pick talk.
All right.
Wait, did y'all see on the timeline certain people calling the NBA the MNBA now?
What is that?
There's a WNBA and the MNBA. That's what they call it now.
Men's national basketball.
And if you mad, you sensitive, bro.
You are? What?
You're sensitive.
Damo's showing his sensitivity.
Here he is.
Oh, no, I'm confused. No, nigga, I'm confused. I don't know what's going on.
He's yelling, chat. He's yelling. Peak sensitivity.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He's not muted?
His mic is set to... Yeah. Mic is set to peak sensitivity? Yeah. I mean, is there a problem with that? Is there a problem with that, Damo?
I don't even know what that is, so...
What you mean?
I don't know what...
If the WNBA is the Women's National Basketball League and there's another league of just men, wouldn't it be the MNBA?
Yeah,
Men's National Basketball League.
If that's what you want to call it, sure.
No, what do you want to call it?
Yeah.
Basketball. I just like basketball. It's all basketball. It's all NBA. Everybody, just NBA. Just National Basketball Association. They're all under the same umbrella, getting funded from the same people, all in the same circles. It's just basketball.
You know what's crazy? I sat down with that Kurt dude and he debunked the league is subsidized shit so quick. I was like, damn,
It isn't.
this nigga
Wait,
is
it's not?
smart. He was like, how can you subsidize something that you own? And I was like, I don't know. He's smarter than me. He knows more basketball than me. Like you can't subsidize something you own.
I need to look up what subsidizing mean first.
It's just funding your own business, isn't it? Is if you own it, you just funding your own business.
But it's a whole new business though.
But you own it. It's your business.
Okay, you still subsidizing your own business.
Nah.
It's like when we made Social Packet. Let's say Social Packet relied on Let's Keep It a Buck money. Let's Keep It a Buck would be subsidizing Social Packet.
Who's the owner of Let's Keep It a Buck?
Us four.
But the people that would be giving money to it, to Social Packet, would be the owners of Let's Keep It a Buck as well, right?
Yeah.
You can't.
We're subsidizing our own business. That's what I'm saying.
You can't.
It's gonna be a semantics, man. It's cool, bro. It's cool.
No, and it's crazy though. It's crazy. It's crazy, but hey, you know. Where are we at? Oh, listen. And I know I'm chewing on this cap, trying to stay awake. I'm not gonna lie to you. So we sat down and we talked to Coach Nick. You saw?
Nothing.
So we sat down and we talked to Coach Nick from B-Ball Breakdown, friend of the show at this point, family of the show, right?
Yeah.
Family of the show.
At this point.
We sat down, we talked to Coach Nick, and he gave us a good hour and 40 minutes of exclusive content. Now, we're not going to put all an hour and 40 minutes up, but if you're a part of the membership on YouTube and Discord, then you'll have access to it. But we wanted to share with you the interview with Coach Nick from B-Ball Breakdown. Check it out. How we met, I know you may not remember, but I was defending Doc Rivers and combating a video that you had said. I want to apologize because after this season, I got to take it all back. I got to take all the defense back. Do you have a guesstimation of what could have happened in Milwaukee this season? Yeah. I mean, they truly dropped not the ball, not the baby. They dropped everything that they've had with this past year when it comes to coaching specifically.
Well, I got to tell you, he might be really happy or was the happiest person to see the injuries happen to the team, because it kind of gives him an out, right? With and as it should, like Giannis went down, they're not winning anything without him playing. But, if you wanted to compare, they were in first place, Adrian Griffin was, coaching, whatever, and then, summarily dismissed. That was all very strange. Remember when Michael Jordan came back for the 6th championship? You probably don't, because this is before you're born. But speaking of Michael, he said for that 1997-98 year, he's like, I'm not coming back if Phil doesn't come back. Mm-hmm. Okay. He recognized that Phil was really important to the winning, and he understood that they needed him as part of that, right? Cut to when Kobe or when the Lakers got rid of Phil the first time after when they lost the attempt for the 4th with Karl Malone and Gary Payton and stuff. Remember, Tom Jonovich coached for a year maybe, and then they demanded Phil come back. They needed Phil. They recognized the triangle, all that stuff was really important. So, whether Giannis said fire this guy or he simply didn't say you better keep Adrian Griffin, those are probably two of the same things. And so for them to fire him when they're in first place and everything was going okay, and I did the video on that, was really, really strange. And then on top of that, they had Doc Rivers consulting with the team for the month before that. Now, if you were a coach like Doc and the owner asked you to come in and consult, I don't know. I think if you polled NBA coaches across the board, you probably would have a significant number tell you that they wouldn't do it, right? Yeah. I'm not going to go and overlook on the shoulder, because also, guess what? It looks like I'm looking for his job. Yeah. And it's kind of like in Ukraine, right? Ukraine was so afraid that Russia was going to invade that they were talking about joining NATO. And then Russia invaded. But then the Russian wants to pretend that it was because they were going to join NATO, when it was actually the other way around. They were afraid that Russia was going to do it. So to not put the politics in here, it's kind of the same idea where it's Doc is going to consult And either way, it looks like he wants that job, and then he gets the job. So what was that about? And the worst part about it was that they were playing fine. They're playing well. It looked like I did the video where it was like the only thing they wanted to change was how they played their defense, their coverage of defense, and with Brook Lopez primarily. And they wanted him to come up a little bit higher and not drop so much, because Budenholzer had him dropping so far and so ridiculously far, and then it would kill him in the playoffs. And so it seemed like that frustration was what kind of started the conversation against Adrian Griffin, who, by the way, is one of those nice guys. He ain't going to yell at anybody and getting really detonated, as far as I could tell. The only thing that made a little bit of a raise an eyebrow would be that Terry Stotts was fired right before the season started. Now, the other thing is, people might not realize, I don't know exactly how much influence head coaches have on the assistant coaches. Believe it or not, I think a lot of times the management brings them in and they say, okay, well, I'll make it work, right? And so it's unclear if Adrian Griffin was the one who had Stotts join him. And then it's a little bit strange to me that Griffin could have that much, say he needs to be fired. Or I'm sorry, that's not right. Stotts left.
Yeah, he
right?
resigned. I was about to say, I thought that he resigned.
Right. That is right. So as a result, Griffin didn't have that power. I don't think he would have had that power to say you got to fire him, because I don't think he had hired him in the first place. So that was weird. But he might have already been feeling a little bit threatened about that, because again, if I'm a coach in the NBA, a head coach, the last thing I'd want, it was probably a guy who's already been a head coach as my assistant. Because ownership would easily say, oh, we can get rid of him because we got somebody else who's there. He's got experience. Let's just replace him. Now, it's probably not realistic to expect that they wouldn't put somebody with experience next to Adrian Griffin. But I would have been worried about that myself, especially now that Dame joined the team, right? And now, Stotts has coached Dame before, and he's coached him to good success. So all of that was probably mixed in there. But the bottom line is, it was very, very strange that it would have, from my estimation, at least from X's and O's, it was literally about where they wanted Brook Lopez guarding, on the floor, and that was enough, even though they were still winning in the first place. Very, very strange.
Yeah, I didn't like the optics, and it starts this carousel. I've been floating out this theory of a carousel. You fire one coach because you don't get, I guess, the desired results every single time. I really don't. I understand the problem with Bud, but I think they overreacted. But cool. Now you're starting this carousel as opposed to pointing to, who the actual culprits are in the situation, and it damages like continuity. And so then you bring in Doc Rivers, who, for whatever reason, I feel like it was maybe around that time, or it was after he got the job, started to get on these podcasts and give himself so many excuses as to why he wasn't in the wrong. And
that's when JJ got mad.
Yeah, that's when JJ got mad. There was no coaching, not in Boston, not in Orlando, not in Los Angeles. And I would think that ownership would kind of look at that and be like, man, this is a guy who probably shouldn't be around here for too long.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that, those guys who always have a girlfriend, like they can't not have a girlfriend. It's like he has to have a job. Like, he lost the Clippers job and then was like in Philly within 2 hours. And like, you know what I mean? It was weird. He might be okay. He should just relax a little bit, do the TV thing for a year, at least, without all that stuff. It's like, that would be my suggestion. But that said, like, in that video where we first connected, it was like, I've actually kind of gotten back and forth on that myself, because you're right. Like, there is a whole thing about, like, if it's the player's fault, is it his fault? If there was enough, I guess the point I was making in the video was sort of like, there was enough, what's the word? Of a pattern here of how his teams end up sort of falling apart. And we have, even more evidence now that at some point you got to kind of maybe start thinking that maybe it's the bench and what his effect was. I mean, it's certainly what rubbed me wrong for the Clippers run for so long was that with the guys like CP3 who can get hot-headed, I don't know what the word, he loses his mind sometimes and just take himself out of the games. To add a coach who couldn't sort of relax about the refereeing calls all the time, it just created a really bad mix. And that's not like that wouldn't have been the optimal way to coach that team, which was a terrific team and probably, should have. They had a 3-1 lead heading into the Western Conference Finals, right, against Houston. And man, like it was brutal to watch. And you could see the anxiety grow across the bench for everybody. And then you see other coaches who don't exhibit that kind of anxiety-inducing behavior visually, and they don't melt. They don't melt down. Even the thing like, listen, Doc's got a really bad back problem, right? So he has to bend over. You ever see this? When he's always like bent over on the bench for like stretches. You haven't seen him do this?
No.
I've been doing it for years. It's like he's like this. He's literally
when did it start?
He's like this.
Oh, I kind of know.
Yeah.
Damn, I thought he was just tired.
Game planning.
No. Well,
I thought he was thinking.
Way,
thinking,
it's for a big part of the game. I got to tell you, that's really bad body language. I had at lunch today talking to another coach about it, where it's like, if you have that much trouble, you just have to sit down. Don't be bent over staring at the ground, because it looks like you're so disappointed in your players that they're playing so bad that it's not even worth looking at them. You know what I mean?
A back problem. I thought he was trying to get like a better angle of the spacing on the
Y'all
court.
thought that was his hands in his pockets? Y'all thought that was his Darvin Ham?
Yeah. Think about that. And so Darvin Ham's sitting at home because his hands are in his damn pocket, which, by the way, is another one of those negative body language things, like your hands in your pockets, or arms folded is another one.
What's the problem?
I thought that was his LeBron, like Game 6. I'm locked in. I swear to you.
No, that was his back hurts. My back is killing me from trying to coach. This pressure is so immense. I need help.
I'm literally folding.
He's hunched over at the storage table.
It really is. I wish I could laugh as hard as you guys. It's so frustrating to me, because listen, one of the things I try and do is help coaches understand how important all that body language is. Right? It really. I remember a ref in a summer league game when I was coaching in high school in 1990, whatever it was, telling me about that. I got to work my body language. And I remember being so dismissive of it. And man, have I come all the way around and realized what it was. Although I had a funny line to him. I said, well, let me ask you this. Based on my body language, do you know how I feel about your calls? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, good. But that wasn't, and that another problem. Okay, if I'm mad about the calls and I'm expressing that, well, my players might not realize that. They might not be able to discern between that I'm thinking about the ref versus what they play. And these are younger guys, and that could have a big effect. So anyway, it's crazy. It's crazy how this is going, and I don't anticipate Doc getting much more out of this from the Bucks than what we saw anyway. Because I think that they weren't going to go that far in the playoffs as it was. They did not play well at all after Doc took over at all.
Yeah.
And so, he's one of those guys, like for a while there, remember in the NBA, maybe it was a while ago, they used to just retread coaches, right? Like Bill Fitch, who just constantly be getting hired and hired because he had experience, not if he was a good coach or not. And Doc is somewhat in that same line here. I think he probably would end up being a much better, commentator now. Let him do that. Like, I think he'd be good at that. But here we are, and I don't anticipate that the Bucks finding the success we're looking for, which is a championship with him.
Yeah, no, I agree. But the only thing I would say is I feel like the NBA is coming around the time where they are trying out new coaches, building through the G League. As we've seen through like OKC with their coach, they're trying different approaches. I know some of the like Tom Thibodeau's of the world are still kicking around, but the idea of Avery Johnson and Mark Jackson getting skipped around and Lloyd Pierce, you gotta do your due diligence.
Now you want to talk about the pop tree.
Yeah, and I was actually looking at the tree that Adrian Griffin and them came from, but let's I actually do want to go to a newer coach.
I mean, it's Budenholzer, it's Monty.
Yeah, I know. I want to go to a newer coach that actually just won a title. I know that on the court, it definitely didn't look good for the Mavericks in a lot of these games. But I tuned into the video that you did with AC, and you guys were talking about coaching. So from your perspective, how bad did Jason Kidd get out coached by Joe Mazzulla in this finals?
I would say he got out coached to the point of it should have at least gone 6 games, if not 7. And at that point, listen, Boston was great. They were a historically great team throughout the whole, regular season. So I doubted them. I thought the Mavericks were going to be able to win, but I didn't also assume that KP was going to come back the way he did in the first game. And remember, like, if that doesn't happen, then maybe they don't win the first game, or they changes everything. And the second game was down the wire; it was close. So, but the bottom line is, it was really like the offense, right? Amazingly enough, the Celtics offense did not do as well as it had done in the previous rounds. And, even though Luka was getting, blown by and whatever, they were doing some things that were pretty good. Jason Kidd was on the defensive end that was able to hold them, lower an offensive ratings than they had in the previous rounds. But offensively for the Mavericks, it was really, really frustrating to watch, where they just didn't understand how to attack what the Celtics were doing. They wanted to attack Al Horford in the pick and roll, but then they put Al Horford on Derek Jones Jr. So that means Derek Jones Jr. needs to come set the ball screen, and that screws up their entire balance of the floor, because they wanted it to have a center, Gafford, set the ball screen, right? And they had Tatum on Gafford. So there were these inklings that they were slowly starting to figure out over time that were going to work and be able to really destroy that line, that matchup, going down to Gafford in the post. They did it like 4 times in the 5 games. And I think he scored on 3 or 4 of them or something like that. So, and then maybe he kicked out for a 3 on another. So it was like, that's what you need to do more of. And not even a lot more of, but just a little bit more of. And then that would force Mazzulla to actually, maybe guard them in a more traditional way. And then they can go back to trying to do the ball screen stuff. Now, they also took them 3 games to figure out that if they switch, the other thing that was interesting was, so as Horford's man was coming up to set the ball screen, if you can picture this, Derek White would quickly jump in there and get Horford back, so Horford doesn't have to be involved in the pick and roll. So now Horford's guarding somebody else. It took him 3 games to figure out, wait a minute, maybe we'll send that new guy that Horford's guarding up as a second ball screener, and then Luka can go at him. And they finally did that, but like so far and few between that it didn't give them an advantage that they could have had. So, yeah, like that was a big problem. And again, it was that Kidd. I have to say it's Kidd, because Kidd should be telling, Luka what he should be doing. And they weren't doing that at all. And they were playing right into the Celtics' hands. There was no movement before the ball screen. So they were able to pre-switch all those screens and not give up any advantage. So, yeah, now that said, Luka was probably 60%, 70%, whatever he was. So that's part of it too. It really is a little bit unfair on that end, but they could have at least still given him a little bit more support from the bench. They didn't do offensively.
I think Jason Kidd has grown though as a coach over the years, from Brooklyn to Milwaukee to even his time when he got hired in Dallas. I was a little concerned, but he's shown that he has grown. So I think he can take from this. Hopefully the organization can also make a few roster changes and stuff like that. I know the price of free agents are like through the roof. The price for trades are through the roof right now, but maybe they can make some changes and then be back in the conversation next year. That's at least what I'm hoping.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, from where he started with Brooklyn till now, for sure. I hadn't felt like there was a lot of gaps that were going on, like coaching problems. And he's really developed that. He's got probably a better bench alongside him as assistant. So without question. And this will definitely be a learning experience. I think that they're going to sit down there and pull this apart and figure out where they can do better. Because, Luka is so good that I was so glad to see him back in the playoffs and be able to show us what he can do when he can do it. So there's no question. Yeah, that'll help them. And then, but speaking of like that, Mazzulla, like I've gone a 360. I've done 720 on him now, as far as what I felt like he was doing last year to this year. Really, really just next level stuff. Sam Cassell on his bench. Like, here's another guy. Why doesn't he ever get interviewed for head coaching jobs? That's interesting to me. He's been on a bunch of different great, benches. So clearly that helped him. But like Mazzulla really just, I've really been able to marvel at like the things that how he was doing and how he's communicating. They all responded to him, and he was able to to lead them through to the final, so to the championship. So yeah, it happens. The same thing could happen with Kidd.
Going back to Kidd though, do you have any doubt as far as like a heliocentric offense being a winning formula for a championship winning team? Because obviously there's been so many cases of heliocentric offenses being successful in the league. obviously the Suns, James Harden's Rockets, even the Mavs, they just made it to the finals. But in terms of winning it all, is it like once you get to the final round or some of these final rounds, when you're going up against more talented teams that can like take away the advantages that you would have with a heliocentric offense, do you think at the end of the day there's just too many like cons with heliocentricism? Or
I'm willing to go on record as saying if Luka was 100%, they could have won that series.
Damn.
Now, here's the only problem, because here's the thing. KP doing what he did for only those few games, and even now he was injured and out for the other ones. But there was one surprise, which is what had me picking the Mavericks. The other one was Kyrie Irving turning into the worst player on the floor. I couldn't see that. And I don't know, exactly what happened there because, okay, he takes tough shots, but he was making tough shots against everybody before that. Like that's not a weird thing for him. For him to completely lose that edge or whatever he had like that, I mean, if he had played even average in game 2, like they win that game, they should win that game, right? And like 1-1 changes the complexion of the series. So yes, I think for sure that whatever Dallas is doing with Luka for sure could win a title at some point. Because remember, the other key they did though was they surrounded him with really good defenders. So Gafford, Jones Jr., Washington, who am I missing? Green coming off the bench. That was important too to find those 3-and-D kind of guys. So all of that mixed together, yes, to me was on the right track, and I think they could definitely do that with at least with what Dallas is doing. Is there any other example right now of Helio?
In terms of in the NBA,
yeah. Anybody else now doing? Because Harden is not doing
the
it anymore.
Knicks as a heliocentric.
Oh yeah, gosh.
Different.
But that might be due to this. That might be due to injury, though. I don't. That might be not the fairest of judges.
Denver?
Okay, right.
Not Denver. Phoenix.
Well, but they got the 3, and so they're never quite like what we're seeing in Dallas, right? Heliocentric almost has to be like there's a minimum usage percentage they have to have before you can really.
OKC.
OKC could be closest, right? And that's kind of the reason why like Giddey couldn't really function really well with them because he needed the ball too to be able to do some nice passes and stuff like that. So but I think you could probably do it if you were able to have a really, really imposing defense, right? That's the whole key in my mind. If you can really like cause problems, shut guys down defensively, then yes, the offense could work for sure.
Yeah, no, I feel it. My biggest concern is just before Damo goes, my bad. It's just the lack of a balanced attack with a heliocentric offense.
And by the way,
a little bit too predictable.
And as a coach, you're right. Like I would hate to see that, right? I love to see the ball movement and player movement and cutting and all that stuff. I just did a video on how MIKAL Bridges is going to fit in, which, by the way, also connects to the conversation about coaching because most coaches, I think, will tell you now in the NBA, they don't have practices. They don't have time to have 2-hour practices on an off day where they're running up and down and drills and all that stuff. So, you need the reason why the Knicks are going to have a big advantage now is they're bringing in another guy that's completely familiar with the other 3. And you probably don't need a lot of reps in practice to get them on the same page. And so that's going to be a big advantage, I think, for the Knicks going forward. So the Celtics are going to have their hands full, I think, going forward. The only thing is if Hartenstein doesn't return, which I don't think he will, that's gonna be a one. That's too bad. He is one of those X factors, I think, for the Knicks. And if they could figure out how to keep him, I had an idea by the way. So I believe because they only signed him to a 2-year contract, they only have his limited bird rights and not his full bird rights. So they can only offer him, I think it was like $16.5 million per year. And he's probably going to get an offer of 20, 21. And he's got to take it. Like if he doesn't take it, his agent should fire him. So why couldn't they do something where they're like, okay, we'll pay you 16.5, but we're going to find you $5 million of endorsements that will make up the difference. And they find those that maybe they even pay for them, in a laundered money kind of way. Why couldn't they do that? In the land of NIL and everything that's going on.
It makes sense. They need to, because I think that they have like the biggest, best shot. They sold out to get MIKAL. They sold out to get OG. They really put the farm on the table and gave everybody everything. They have to figure out a way to bring it back. They would probably be one of the more the bigger questionable modern day teams as to like what if they were healthy versus the Celtics and
well, by the way, they need to trade Randall, right?
Yeah,
Randall needs to go, and that's
Absolutely.
a huge contract that gets off their books. But again, because of these limited bird rights, it doesn't mean they can offer that extra money to Hartenstein, which really is like it sucks. All they had to do is offer him a 3-year contract. That's the dumb thing about all of that, right? He was so cheap, nobody was going to sign him. They could have signed him for whatever they wanted to, and they could have given him a 3-year deal. They should have done that, and that would have eliminated. He'd still be on contract for more and more years. Like it seems silly. So that was the small-sided part of it, because like, would it really have killed them to go into this next year? They would have been paying him whatever he's paying, like $10 million a year this year, whatever it was, and it would be nothing for a starter on a good team. It'd be insane. They'd have a great deal. So that's also on them, and they're not going to be able to replace him. Now you put Mitchell Robinson in the lineup, and it changes everything, because he's not the offensive person that Hartenstein is, unfortunately. And so, they're good, and he on the defensive end he's good, but you need both. You need great on both ends.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What were you gonna ask?
I was gonna ask another Mavericks question. Souza brought up the offense, them being heliocentric as probably a issue for them going forward. I was gonna say defensively, you did bring up that they surrounded Luka with better defenders, but you couldn't tell watching that finals with that. Well, to me, look like defensive schemes and adjustments. I could not get away from the fact that every time I looked on the court, the corners is wide open for the Celtics. They were a pass away from an open corner 3 from anybody. Deli shooter, Xavier Tillman, whatever it was. Was I just noticing something dumb? Was that like a coaching scheme or something that should have been changed? Is it a pick your poison with how the Celtics are doing their offense because they run a 5-out?
Well, okay. One thing is, and I'm doing this video as well in the middle of trying to get that done with everything else. But the Celtics are kind of changing the way the game is going to be played going forward with 5 elite 3-point shooters on the floor. Right, that changes a lot of different things in terms of spacing and how you have to defend it. What I liked that the Mavericks were doing was for Kyrie, they were keeping him out of guarding anybody in the corners. Okay, so whenever his man would go to the corner, he would just stay up on the wing, and then the big man would be the guy guarding the corner. So, and primarily because normally if he's on the weak side and there's penetration, it's that position that has to come over and rotate. And if it's a guard, then it doesn't help you. And Kyrie ain't going to help you really. Maybe he'll get a steal once every 3 games. So it makes sense to have the center there. But that means that Kyrie's going to be the guy who has to X out to the corner if it gets kicked out to that far. Now, they got away with it a little bit because I don't think the Celtics did a great job of skipping to the corners when you saw those openings, right? But what they did have a problem with it when you're helping from on the strong side. So if the ball is on your side and you're guarding the corner and then it comes and you help off there, it's an easy pass a high schooler can make and an easy shot a high schooler can make, right? And that's what we try to do, never do that. Now, the Tillman 3 that he did get, I don't think Tillman had shot a 3 in a month or 2. So I get it. Like, let him shoot it, stare him, and he made it. Mm-hmm. But then we saw it happen against off of Jaylen Brown or somebody, and I think that was Kyrie too. So there's a lack of discipline defensively that they didn't have. I know that awful coaching who came on the show. Do you know that guy who screams and yells?
Yes.
He has a lot of misguided takes on defense, but he was pointing out some stuff too where it just looked like they weren't drilling this stuff, and maybe they weren't. I don't know. But Kyrie let him down on that end as well. And so that's an interesting question because if he's going to be in a fog on both ends of the floor, then you have a problem. You have to limit his minutes, you know what I mean? And then that means Luka's got to play more. So, and plus they didn't do a good job of protecting Luka. So just like Horford was being protected a lot of the time and KP as well for not having to get up in that pick and roll, they weren't doing the same thing with Luka. And so he was getting caught out there on an island, guarding a ball handler coming around a ball screen. And you could just tell, I mean, he's not a great defender a lot of times, but there are moments when he can move. And there were times he just wouldn't, I don't know. I think he was hurt. His knee was bleeding. He's draining his knee every game. Yeah. So I think that was a big factor too. That would have been a little different if he was, 80, 90%.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't as bad as he showed in the finals. His foot looked like it was almost nailed to the ground on a lot of these possessions. Kind of rounding it out with these last couple questions. So you actually brought up my biggest takeaway from the NBA finals is that I believe that the Celtics have unlocked the key, at least the first step to revolutionizing how teams are created now. I don't know if you've looked. I'm an Atlanta fan. Have you looked at Ricochet's film at all yet?
Complete revelation to me. I hadn't even realized he was on the board, much less going to get drafted. So you tell me. I'm derelict in my duty. What is he? What kind of player is he?
So,
no.
Yeah, I think what a lot of us thought is that we saw what happened with Luka and Derek Lively last year, right? He was, just the thing that they needed, a breath of fresh air, a lob threat just for him. And pairing a SAR with a Trey was supposed to be, that was supposed to be 2.0 right there. That's the next one that's going to get it done. Ricochet for me wasn't even on my board, like you said. He wasn't in my scope either. He is at best Harrison Barnes. I don't want to be, and look at you. Harrison Barnes at 1 is kind of crazy. Yeah. He supposedly has some ability to put it on the floor, but he's a weaker guy. The handle isn't like the best. He can shoot it. He can shoot it. He can shoot it. And then also he's from the.
Oh, okay. He's a below the break shooter. Let's just say that.
He can shoot the basketball.
PJ Washington shooter.
And then also they're projecting that the defensive upside, especially because of the length, is going to be there. Now, again, not even close to NBA strength. Very, but he's a 19-year-old kid or whatever the case may be. But with that being said, with the limited knowledge that you may have on Ricochet, do you think that the Hawks went in that direction because, like we were talking about, the future of what NBA basketball is, a Trae Young who can drive, shoot, pass, DeJounte Murray who can drive, shoot, pass, Jalen Johnson, Ricochet, and then you just have to find that 5 that kind of just works?
Yeah, listen, the guy that should be drafted number 1 in every draft should be Kevin Durant. Like, that is who you're trying to get, in my mind. A guy who's long, he can guard, he can play defense, he can shoot threes, and maybe put the ball on the ground. I would just take the shooting at this point. If you're a shooter and you can play defense and you got length, that's all you want. When did DeAndre Ayton get drafted number 1? Not that long ago, right? 2019? 2018? Like, when he was, listen, I like Ayton. I think he got better defensively, and he was, it could have been a good piece on a team that would have gone far. That's not the guy you should be drafting number 1 anymore. It would have been in 1990, but not anymore. So they got to get off, because you could have gotten him at 10. You know what I mean? Like, that's a guy who you don't want to waste the number 1 pick on. So yes, I think going forward, and by the way, the KD guy you want is going to be your center in 5 years, right? So OG is going to play center. Like when the Knicks play Mikal Bridges and him together without a center, that's going to be the center, or either OG or Bridges. One of those 2 guys is going to end up playing the biggest guy on the other side. And it's going to force the other team to go small, because if they go big, that guy's going to get run off the court. So yes, that is the future, is both 5 elite 3-point shooters, and probably a lot of time spent with your tallest guy is going to be that 6'8", 6'9" guy with long arms who can really defend and shoot. So yeah, and once you have that, right, that changes everything, because with Lively, it's very traditional, and the Celtics were able to show how they can stay at home on the role guy and sort of take away the role and force Luka to kind of have to be the guy who shoots it all the time. And that was a problem. Like that was not working very well. Now, if Luka again was closer to 100%, it would have been better, and they would have gotten 6 games at least, I think. But yeah, that is the future of the game without question. And so I think it'll get smaller and smaller. Now, smaller could be Wembanyama, at 7'5", but like thin and long and guard like skills. And thank God the Spurs didn't like park his ass on the block and tell him to post up 10 times a game. So yeah, but that said, I'm also the guy who's like, guards need to post up more. Like, those are the guys who should be down there posting up and let the bigs, space the floor and shoot threes. So yeah, so I think we're in. And by the way, that could also cause a lot of problems. You've seen people lament, I don't watch the game anymore. Right, you hear that a lot. I see that on Twitter all the time. Anymore, because they watched it a lot. They love it from. I'm watching a game from '88. There's no way anybody would ever want the kind of game that they're playing now. There's no way. This is not basketball the way we want it to. It's 6-7 guys in the lane, the whole possession. It's horrible. The refereeing was not how we ever wanted a ball to be refereed. But we have this weird nostalgic, pining for a day that's gone by that was never what they thought it was in the first place. So the point thing is that, 5 years from now, the game will probably not be that recognizable to what it was 5 years ago. and they're going to run the real risk of, you know, losing audience because it isn't what they thought it was or they used to do or they grew up with. And they're going to have to somehow, you know, bridge this and somehow bring everybody along with this so we can stick with it. Otherwise, yeah, you'll have to find a whole new set of fans.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another great episode of the Let's Keep It a Buck podcast, brought to you by nobody. I want to thank my esteemed co-host, Damo. Say goodbye to the people.
All right, Chaz, being my favorite midnight snack, and we will be back after this. I'm streaming after this, so yeah, I will stick around. Who's playing tonight? Is it the Aces?
The Aces and the Fever are not the Aces. The Aces and the Sky are playing at this current moment. I mean, it'll be done by the time you get off or whatever.
Bull. All right, but yeah, chat. Y'all have fun. YouTube audience, I will see you guys later.
BSOLZ, say goodbye to the people.
Appreciate y'all for coming through today. Hopefully, I wasn't looking at the screen too much today.
Pause.
All right, man. Hopefully, at this point in time, y'all enjoyed the interview with Coach Nick. I will personally be back next Thursday because tonight I will be driving to North Carolina to see my family. So,
wait, tonight?
Yeah, man. It's a 12-hour drive.
Like when we get off, you're gonna drive?
Like midnight, 1 a.m. type shit. Road trip.
You're not gonna wait till the morning?
Nah, we're good. We're good in the East.
You gonna vlog it or no?
Probably not. No.
I figure that's kind of crazy, gang. Are you gonna do the whole 12 things in like one? You gonna take the whole thing at one time or?
Pause.
How is that gay? That can't be gay. That literally cannot be gay.
Me and Bree are switching off. A bunch of rest stops in between too.
Okay. I just didn't know what time. Okay, that's fine.
We gotta stop by Jollibee. That's why too. We wanted to leave.
100K Sage, say goodbye to the people. Type shit. Shout out to the TSO gang.
Goku.
Cord. Gojo. 100,000 people for free.
Y'all are sick.
We are actually sick individuals.
Y'all are sick.
What's another thing?
Y'all like shit.
Yeah. We'll be streaming tonight, Mo. Yeah. Shout out to the Wizards, Alex Sarr.
My God.
Yeah. All right, people. Yeah, he'd be starting it off like that. I think that's it. I think we got all say just get anyway, with that being said, appreciate you guys for coming out. Take care, stay blessed. Bye guys. Double salute. Give me head top. Hey.